So here we are now at video number 30, and for this video I'll start it off by reading what happens to that fourth fearsome, terrible beast that will be here during the time of the end. Listen carefully again to what Daniel says in chapter 7, and I'll read starting again in verse 26. And the court itself proceeded to sit. A judgment is being made. A decision, something has been decided upon by Jehovah himself. What decision? Let's keep reading. And his own rulership they finally took away. Well, remember, God allowed that operation of error to continue in order that they all may be judged. And so eventually that judgment begins. Their rulership is finally taken away. After God allows Satan's operation of error to continue for some time, millions now living will never die. You positively will not die. And so, something very similar to the ancient Israelites standing on the border of the promised land has happened here. They had to wait for all those people to die before they could actually enter the promised land. All the people who didn't want to go or didn't think that God could do it, conquer all those fearsome people that they saw in the promised land. And so they had to wait. And think about it, we've done the same thing. The holy ones have had to wait for all those millions to die. And so now there's nothing holding back anyone from seeing that, yeah, that was the lie. The lie. And it's through this lie that God will judge them all. And if he has started to judge them all, then we're the first. The house of God is the first to be judged. And his own rulership they finally took away in order to annihilate him and to destroy him totally. So, a decision has been made. And hopefully everyone in my audience can appreciate why that decision has been made. Because of the sin, a transgression that causes desolation. It will not be forgiven. They will be desolated, annihilated, totally. Let me keep reading. And the kingdom and the rulership and the grandeur of the kingdoms under all the heavens were given to the people who are the holy ones of the Supreme One. Their kingdom is an indefinitely lasting kingdom, and all the rulerships will serve and obey even them. So, can you see that a decision really has been made? And do you understand why? Of all the people in this entire world, the audience going down this rabbit hole should now understand exactly why. a decision has been made, a judgment. So I'm going to go back and show you how this connects to Isaiah chapter 28, the chapter about the rulers who concluded a covenant with death. So let's go and see how it connects. That decision, the judgment. Here we are in Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 22. And now do not show yourselves scoffers, in order that your bands may not grow strong. For there is an extermination, even something decided upon. A judgment that I have heard of from the sovereign Lord Jehovah of armies for all the land. Convincing evidences concerning judgment. And so, if this is going to happen, and that fourth fearsome, terrible beast will be totally annihilated, then what should we now do? If we are indeed the holy ones, the first to be taken away from that place of darkness and being brought into his wonderful light, what should we do? What do you think God wants to happen now if this wild beast will be totally annihilated? Well, think about this. If you've been taken away, who's been left behind? Your brothers and your relatives, according to the flesh, your family, your domestics. So, does God want them to be annihilated also? What does God want for the family that you've left behind in this terrible situation that's about to be annihilated? What should a holy one now do? And why should they do it? So I'm going to go back now and read in Malachi chapter 3 once again. And hopefully my audience can see that, yeah, Jehovah now wants something from the holy ones. So listen carefully. I'll start in verse 2 of Malachi chapter 3. But who will be putting up with the day of his coming? And who will be the one standing when he appears? For he will be like the fire of a refiner, and like the lye of laundrymen. And he must sit as a refiner and cleanser of silver. And he must cleanse the sons of Levi, and he must clarify them like gold and like silver. And they will certainly become to Jehovah people presenting a gift offering in righteousness, truth. And the gift offering of Judah and of Jerusalem will actually be gratifying to Jehovah, as in the days of long ago, and as in the years of antiquity. So, why are we being refined and whitened through the lie of laundrymen? So that we might actually do something and have a gift offering ready to present to Jehovah. But what is it that we can give to him, to God? What is it that we could now do to have a gift offering ready to present to God or to the high priest, Jesus Christ, when he does appear? And then perhaps we will be the ones standing if we have that gift offering. So what is it? Considering that that fourth fearsome, terrible beast will be totally annihilated, and our families, our brothers, are left behind in that place of darkness, that terrible situation. I'm going to read Isaiah chapter 66. I'm not going to read verse 5. You should know that by now. You should know that you've been hated by your brothers and excluded by reason of God's name. And here in that same chapter, Isaiah chapter 66, it talks about a gift offering. Let's read that. So here we go. It's going to be a long read. Listen carefully. This is Isaiah chapter 66, where it talks about those brothers being excluded by reason of God's actual name. I'll start in verse 19. And I will set among them a sign, and I will send some of those who are escaped. Escaped from what? By now you should know. You've escaped from that terrible place of darkness. I will send some of those who are escaped to the nations, the Gentiles, to Tarshish, Pul, and Lud, those drawing the bow, Tubal and Javan, the faraway islands, who have not heard a report about me or seen my glory. So, have your brothers, your family that you've left behind, heard about any of this and the extraordinary things that Jesus Christ is now doing? Taking people away out of that place of darkness and bringing them into his wonderful light. A miracle that he's taken hundreds of thousands of people away, divided their families, and taken them. And no one noticed. It's amazing. I'll continue here. And they will for certain tell about my glory among the nations. And they will actually bring all your brothers out of all the nations as a gift to Jehovah, on horses and in chariots and in covered wagons and on mules and on swift she-camels. Where do they bring that gift? up to my holy mountain, Jerusalem. Jehovah has said, just as when the sons of Israel bring the gift in a clean vessel into the house of Jehovah, God's kingdom. But look at this. If you are indeed going to tell about God's glory to your domestics, your brothers and your fleshly relatives that you've left behind, look what Jehovah is going to do for those people that you can now bring as a gift offering and take them away from the place of darkness. Listen carefully. And from them also I shall take some for the priests, for the Levites. Jehovah has said. For just as the new heavens and the new earth that I am making are standing before me, is the utterance of Jehovah, so the offspring of you people and the name of you people will keep standing. Who is putting up with the day of his coming? And who will be the one standing when he appears? All good questions, right? Who will be the one putting up with the day of his coming as a thief to take people away? And who will be the one standing when he appears? All very good questions. Very similar to the question Jesus Christ asked in Matthew chapter 24. I'll read that. Verse 45. Who really is the faithful and discreet slave whom his master appointed over his domestics to give them their food at the proper time? Happy is that slave if his master on arriving finds him doing so. Truly I say to you, he will appoint him over all his belongings. Who will be the ones standing when he appears? They will have a gift offering ready to present to Jesus Christ when he appears. His domestics. So if that fourth terrible, fearsome beast is to be totally annihilated, what is it that God wants to happen now? I'm going to read a verse from Revelation chapter 18. Verse 4. And I heard another voice out of heaven say, get out of her, my people. If you do not want to share with her in her sins, and if you do not want to receive part of her plagues. So, you see what God wants? He wants his people. He does not want them to suffer through this total annihilation. So what is it that you can do? to get them out. God's people. Let me read Romans chapter 9 again. And verse 25. It is as he says also in Hosea, those not my people, I will call my people. And her who was not beloved, beloved. And in the place where it was said to them, you are not my people, there they will be called sons of the living God. So, can you think of any righteous acts that you could do in order to obtain those white outer garments? A gift offering that you could have ready to present to Jesus Christ when he does appear, and that perhaps you will be the one standing. In the place where it was said to them, you are not my people. Name of person is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Will you have a gift offering ready to present to the high priest when he appears, and give him the glory he deserves for having taken you out of that place of darkness and brought you into his wonderful light? And it's all due to his mercy. So what does God want from you? He wants mercy, not sacrifice. He wants you to extend that mercy to your domestics. Give them their food at the proper time. Observe God's commandment given to a future audience of excommunicated Christians through help sent by Jesus Christ himself. You, in turn, are to bear witness. And so if you bear witness concerning these things concerning sin, concerning righteousness, the truth, and most definitely concerning judgment, you should be able to obtain a gift offering ready to present to Jesus Christ when he does appear. So, are you being refined by these things? And is Jesus Christ like the lye of laundryman, whitening your outer garments, causing them to become white in the blood of the Lamb, the forgiveness that he's now given you, and that you're among the first to be taken away from that place of darkness? And now you, in turn, can bear witness to these things and bear fruit. Fruit for Jehovah. A gift offering that will be pleasing to God.